Joining us right now is Missouri Senator Eric Schmitt. Senator, what changed today? What's changed over the last 24 hours? A lot happened.
Yeah, I think people have come to the realization, if they weren't paying attention or they were watching news channels where they were being lied to, that contrast was very clear. I was down in Hotlanta last night, and we were in that holding room as surrogates before we went to the spin room and watched it all together and experienced that the same way the American people did in their living rooms. And there's three big takeaways, Brian. The first is President Trump performed exceptionally well. I mean, he was on point. He was focused. He talked about policy. He also gave an optimistic vision for the future, gave people hope about what could come, making America great again. The second takeaway was the historically terrible performance by Joe Biden. And I kept thinking to myself, and I turned to J.D. Vance, actually said this, if you think this is bad now and it was terrible, can you imagine what he would be like in 4 years? And that's what he's asking the American people to give him. The third takeaway, Brian, I think is the veil has been lifted. It was illuminating in the sense that the people who've been casting this illusion that Biden is at the top of his game are the same people who lied about the Hunter Biden laptop. They're the same people who say these aren't political prosecutions. They're the same people that tell you your life is fine, everything is going great, the economy is great, even though there's sticker shock every day, every week at the grocery store and more expensive to buy a home. So they've been exposed now as sort of just carrying on this regime narrative. And Donald Trump is the disruptor who can break up this cartel of permanent Washington that has made a habit of lying to people and telling them not to believe their lying eyes.
So what's different? This morning I get up and I see this alert. Thomas Friedman, the New York Times editorial, Joe, he was welling up in Lisbon, and who wouldn't? Watching this debate, he thinks he should leave. Same thing with Christoph. Same thing. He thinks he should leave. The editorial board of the New York Times, time to step aside. That's a little different than someone like Donald Trump saying he's not worthy or he can't do the job.
Yeah, no, for sure. But I will tell you, earlier today, Brian, the puppet master himself, Barack Obama, issued a decree that Joe Biden's staying in. So guess what? Joe Biden's staying in. The people that are close who get power right now through this figurehead presidency, they're not letting him go. They're going to ride this thing out. But I think what became clear last night was the contrast, not just in policy. So for the first time in anybody's lifetime, you can compare two presidential records for people who are running for that office. That's not happened. It certainly wasn't televised. So not only can you compare the record of, a great economy for working families, energy dominance, a secure border, all of those things, but also the two men who were on that stage and their capabilities and their command to hold the most important office in the world. And so it happened last night. Trump was the big winner, but I think they're going through different stages of grief on the Democrat side right now.
I saw Barack Obama with John McCain in 2008. He got 8 points after his debate performance, and it looks like Joe Biden got 4 points after Donald Trump debated him in the first debate. What do you think President Trump is going to get from this debate? By almost 4-1 margin, people said he did better, that he won this thing. What do you think it's going to mean in the polls?
I think it's going to be pretty dramatic. And listen, these are inescapable realities, Brian, that aren't going to change. His mental acuity is not going to get any better. The situation at the border is not going to get any better. Every week there's a story of some young woman being raped and murdered. These things aren't going to get better. Inflation's cumulative. So all of the things that work against Joe Biden aren't going to get better, and people are going to be left with that image that they saw in this nationally televised presidential debate of Joe Biden being confused. And I think it's just time to take the keys away.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Clyburn ran to his side today. Steny Hoyer ran to his side. Various congresspeople, other people just ran away when our camera showed up. Senator, thanks so much. Have a great weekend.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.